Hi, Kelly Eckholt here to update you with the key events of the week. So ships of the world, start your engines, let the oil flow. That was the call from Donald Trump at the start of the week as he announced that agreement had finally been made between the US and Iran to reopen the Straits of Hormuz and start negotiations over the next 60 days around some of the crunchier issues at stake, including Iran's nuclear program. That's seen oil and energy prices more generally fall quite significantly, such that 91 petrol, significantly below $3, is now in prospect as we look forward. This will be welcome news to both consumers and businesses who are really labouring under the uncertainty associated with the Iran war, and it's likely to bring forward the point which we see recovery as we go through the rest of the year. On that note, we learned that growth in the first quarter of the year was stronger than expected. March quarter growth came in at 1.5% for the year versus the 1.2% forecast that we had. And it was strength in the construction and the agricultural sector that stood out there, and certainly showed that we had quite considerable economic momentum coming into the Iran war at the start of the year. On the inflation front, we've revised down our inflation forecasts, and we now think that inflation will peak this year at 4.2% in the September quarter. And the downward revision reflects both the lower oil price profile, but also critically some of the monthly CPI data we've seen in the last 6 weeks or so, which has been a bit weaker than expected. All of this is likely to be quite consequential, I think, for the Reserve Bank as they consider what to do in the next July meeting. The doves on the committee will feel vindicated, I think, that they held back from tightening back in May, and the hawks were probably feeling a lot less sure of themselves. For the market's part, they still think there's a very high probability of a July hike, but we think that probability is a lot lower than that, and indeed still think that the Reserve Bank will stand pat in July and start raising rates in September. Let's see what happens. I'll be back to update you again next week.